What's up, everyone? It's me, Adam Prime, and we are back for a very sad episode of the TokuBrew Podcast. This week in Toku,
Donbrothers is over, and I'm not okay.
the festival.
I'm not okay with this.
Festival is over, and with me, as always, is the trying to hold back tears.
I am not.
Maybe not in this recording. We'll get to that.
You got choked up before I did.
That's fair.
I am Stormy.
Yes.
I'm upset.
And if you are listening to this, it is out before this. I already know. But if you want to check out our actual live reactions to the first
quote-unquote live reactions.
Yeah, our quote-unquote live reactions of as we watch the episode.
The finale of
Donbrothers, we have a commentary on and it's...
Yeah, it was a TokuBrew commentary.
And...
Donbrothers 50. I think that's what the video was called.
Yes. Which,
go
check that out.
It went up early March. I don't know when this episode is coming up, but it went up, like, early March.
So. But, yeah, go check that out. I hope you guys enjoy that. I hope you guys have a little bit of fun, getting to watch it with us in a way.
Yeah.
So it's like we've been wanting to do commentary kind of things. We might do another one sooner rather than later. That might also be out, but who knows?
People seem to.
Yeah.
Because we uploaded it.
We uploaded it the day we're recording it.
So, from what we've seen, like, people seem to enjoy it.
Hey,
so.
I'm about to say. We got one thing of somebody saying they enjoy it, and that's really all I need. I'm like, well, somebody is at least enjoying it.
The name was like Panda Dad, right? Thanks, Panda Dad. If you're listening.
Yeah. And, obviously, because it ended this week, I like how we've been talking about Donbrothers. We haven't even gotten into the show. Okay, wait. I was going to ask this.
This is going to be a long-ass episode, and 90% of it's going to be about Donbrothers. Okay?
Well, yeah, but it's like, is it hard to believe that there was at one point in this show, it was just this week in Donbrothers, because we weren't covering Revice because it felt weird jumping into episode 30-something.
Again, that was kind of before we started doing
Ultra was over at the moment, so...
It was just Donbrothers.
So it was just Donbrothers. And so yeah, it's really interesting to now go. Now we are moving forward with this podcast without Donbrothers. It's going to be very interesting.
It feels weird.
I feel very sad. But hey, you guys can always go back and hear all of our thoughts week by week on this show.
As we saw it.
As we speculated, see how much we got right, see how much we got wrong. That I feel like I always like doing that with older podcasts that do similar things, like, because it's always very interesting to go back into that time period. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Because we were so abrasive to it, but we'll get to that at the end. So we are doing Geats first.
I haven't like gone back and watched a whole lot of like our older podcasts, but like. I almost wonder, what we called really early on without noticing, or, like, without even thinking about it.
Yeah, we'll get...
I like you saying, like, they're never gonna talk about Kaido, are they? Or, like, oh, Tsubasa is just gonna be at the very end of the show, isn't he? Like, and you were just dead on.
But, we'll get to that. We're gonna do Geats first.
Fine.
Because Geats was mostly a clip show.
Yeah,
it was a very good clip show.
Yeah, like, this is how you do it.
I liked it.
This is how you do it.
Because obviously, as we did for Decker, shows that are doing finales get to go last.
Right.
Why does Geats always get to go last when it's just a regular week?
I don't know.
That's where it lands.
Order we watched it.
That was just that's how it landed. So we pretty much open up with like an audience disclaimer, just being like, "Hey, sorry we got it delayed. But we kind of can't show you your regular scheduled program."
And I feel like, I don't know, I think I said it on the podcast, right? But I really feel like this feeds into my theory of, like, this is very meta, like, we are the audience that is watching it. Because when I saw this and I was looking at, like, some of the fight scenes, I was thinking about those, like, little cameras that we saw that, like, can be invisible. It's like, do you think because they have such futuristic technology that it's like, oh, it can just, like, jump between these cameras automatically and we're watching it live or whatever. Like, it's just like, oh yeah, it is like Big Brother, but like you can have quicker, cooler cuts and get all these cool angles because they're these invisible eyes literally looking at you constantly.
And or maybe like who knows? We'll see. Because we know that, like, Zine and all of them can watch it. But we'll get to them in a second. Because it pretty much is Lord Reginald just being like, hey, we're in a little bit of a situation.
I love, like, the ornate background and, like, the, like, fancy furniture.
Oh, yeah, his crushed velvet
I weirdly love it.
couch. Yeah.
It's like the not goth version of what Baroba had.
We'll get to her. But yeah, they're pretty much like, hey, this is for everyone who's a Desire Grand Prix fan to really find out about the Desire Grand Prix. And it pretty much opens up with, it starts with a recap just being like, hey, we picked these Kamen Riders. And
it's legitimately like a recap of the
But
show.
it does have some really good nuggets of information. Like
because all of the riders are like watching the show with their sponsors. Which
it's
is
their
like,
audience.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and it's like, in the
this
middle
is
of
the
this...
first time they've actually watched it.
Well, and the weird thing is with the narrator actually also drops some things. Because it drops the information that the players are chosen from audience recommendation.
Right, yeah.
So it's like, even though it told us earlier on, all of the picks are the game masters.
Right.
But I guess that makes sense because if they're getting like 80 people, might as well have people be like, oh, do this guy. And I imagine the game master does say, no, yes, no, yes.
Yeah, my suggestion was like, oh, what if like they like recommend people and then he like either approves or...
I think that is how it works, because it does say
like,
the audience recommendations.
Say, but like the sponsors also like get to have like...
They're also, like, it allows them to find more people easily.
Mm-hmm.
And then it pretty much opens, and it's like, oh, the Desire Grand Prix takes place in, like, a bunch of different eras and everything. But I guess we should go to what happens first, and it's one of the funniest things, because, like you said, it was just... It cuts to all of them with their sponsors watching this. But Zine had one of the greatest reactions of just, like, the, look, Ace, it's you! But you
You're
had...
on TV!
And it's like, you had the reaction of, like, could you imagine if he was, like, in a full-body cast, where he's like, yeah... Great.
Not exactly in the mood, because remember they got like bombed. Like,
yeah.
really.
By the way, very much. They all look pretty good shape from being nuked.
Yeah, like they look pretty much fine somehow, despite the fact they probably should have just turned into like ashes, basically. And I love how the sponsors are also just totally fine.
Well,
including Jean, who was like there. I mean, he had
yeah, I would say I'm
but
like Kikura wasn't there.
must have been hot.
Baroba's the one who did it, so she's fine.
She was having a grand time.
And fucking Kyun was being an asshole, so.
Of course. And Frogman just wasn't there.
Yeah, I said his name.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't remember his name.
So it also states, it's like, oh, the Desire Grand Prix goes to different eras, and that's when, like, Tycoon's like, what the fuck, what does this mean? And he's like, oh, we go to the Sengoku period, Greece. He's like, there's been many different eras.
I think
even
he mentioned like Rome.
Yeah, he was like, even in the far future. So it's like they do it all over the place. By the way, talking about screenshots that look like fucking shit posts. I'm gonna put this one up here, and it's while they're doing it, and you have a picture of the frog statue. You have Tycoon, and then they have their screen, and it just has fucking real ass guns. Like. Okay.
Yeah, it is kind of...
I bet you YouTube's gonna love that one.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, how long are we in? Like about almost 9 minutes in, a little over 8.
Fine, right?
I bet you YouTube's gonna love that.
Yeah. I do you think like, I was gonna say, like, do you think like how the Desire Grand Prix works? Again, assuming it's like a TV show, do you think because they're multi-dimensional beings, like, when he says, like, oh, we've done it from all sorts of eras, including the future, do you think that everything is going on right now, in a way? Because, like, they're all happening at the same time, even though, like, it's different times of period, like, it's still going on. And so, like, they cut between, like, okay, this week we're showing the Roman era, this week we're showing the
I feel like there's more, like, there's more world, like, I imagine there's multiple...
Or do you think, like, those are just, like, the seasons?
I think those are the seasons, because you have to think... Lord Reginald last episode, he's like, hey, this is going to be the last series on this world. So I think it's more series to series. So I guess each world is a series. No, they said series.
No, I guess, yeah.
They labeled it series.
It's like Kamen Rider. Each year it's a different series.
Oh
my god, what if that's what Kamen Rider is?
that might be where this. I think we
Oh,
might be
God,
going real
how
meta with this
are
shit.
we getting with this?
We're gonna go all the fucking way.
Damn.
We then find Neon, and she's just in a room by herself with a piece of paper. But don't worry, the piece of paper can ghostwrite on it. So apparently, Kyun is the. But no, it's more like Kyun as like the ghostwriter. Do you not remember the PBS? Was it a PBS show?
I don't think I watched that show.
Oh, where it was like a ghost in a computer that would type things out. So yeah.
But we actually get to see Geats being a writer for the first time too.
Well, yeah, it's like this is pretty much going into the sponsors telling
them why they picked
at least Tycoon and Zine. So Kikura,
I think
Neon's, we know how she got in.
No, like it gets mentioned. Remember?
Well, no, it mentions why he wants her too, but ultimately her dad's the one who probably recommended her.
Possibly.
I think that's how that one works.
Oh, sorry. I keep going.
But like, yeah. So we pretty much find out, because it's like those are the only two new ones, because they don't say anything about why. Like, we hear why into the supporters later, but we'll get to that. But yeah, no, we pretty much go with Zine, and he's just like, oh, I liked you from the first times I laid eyes on you. He's like, what? He's like, yeah. He's like, it was before you were a writer, and it was like I don't know if he's in like high school. I don't know how young he's supposed to be.
He's 21.
Now, in current era, but this is years ago.
Geats. You mean Geats. I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about Tycoon for a second.
Yeah, no, I'm like, no, Geats in like the flashback, like, which by the way, his age is still ambiguous. We still don't know.
I like his haircut.
You did like his haircut.
And he like carries around like a suitcase the whole time.
Well, it's like a book bag, and he just throws it at the monster at one point.
Yay!
And then, like, that's why he decides, he's like, okay, cool. And apparently that's when Zine was like, oh, let's make this boy a common writer.
Because he was, like, just no fear fighting the Jamato even without
being a writer,
yeah. Being a writer. He's like...
And then so he's like... And then, like, he transforms for the first time, which we see, which is with Magnum.
And I'd like to point out that we actually see... in his first transformation, because he says, oh, so I'm a fox.
Yeah.
He didn't know, but when he transformed, he still did his pose, but when he snapped, he didn't do, like, the fox
he did more...
fingers that he usually does. He did a point, which is actually what we see Zine doing. Is it Zine or Gene?
I think it's supposed to be pronounced Gene, but it's spelled with a Z, and I'm gonna be an asshole and say how in my language, because Japan apparently doesn't have Z's, I think.
Don't worry, he'll just be a One Directioner. He'll just be a One Direction member.
Yeah, I still just think about him as a Shinmori.
But, yeah, I just thought that was really cool that he does Geats' original pose.
Yeah, he does. I'm gonna call it the classic. That's what he's gonna call it. He's like, oh, I'm gonna call it the classic.
Coke Classic.
Nah,
he's Pepsi Classic.
Yeah.
He's Crystal Pepsi.
Oh my god. And then we pretty much get from Kikura. He's just like, hey, he's like, oh, I knew it from this moment. And it was like the moment where Tycoon tried. By the way, the show is getting into being like, oh, hey, it's this person and so. You know what I mean? Like, that's how we get into it. But, like, it then goes... And I feel like this is what makes it a good clip show episode, because it's like, we have all these questions, and just having characters be like, oh, this is how you got in, you know, so it's like...
It's still giving us new information based off of... Because it's taking, like... It's using the opportunity as a clip show to go back and show you things you've already seen and answer a couple of questions.
The fact that the characters are watching it, I think, helps too. So it's like, it's not just clip for us, it's them also reacting to said clips.
Yeah, which makes sense to, like, have, because, like, they can't do anything at the moment. Even Geats is like, you know, like, this isn't, like, the time to be just sitting here doing nothing.
Well, yeah.
But, you know, obviously they can't really do much.
Which, by the way, another reason Zine said he liked, Ace was because he says you're very open-minded. He's like, you're treating a future being like myself like anyone else.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, he's like, yeah, I am always ready for surprises. But we find out, yeah, so Kikuro was just like, the moment he tried to save Neon in that first episode was when he was like, he's like, oh, and you also were wishing for world peace and all of that. And he's like, I thought you are the spitting image of what I believe a common writer should be. Like,
kind of like the old man.
Yeah.
Thoughts of, like, what a common writer should be, but, like, in a good way.
I feel like it's very Kuga values. Again, I will say it now, and this may be controversial, but in my opinion, like, I will not say he is my personal favorite. He's a little bit up there. But Kuga's like the perfect Kamen Rider. Just like as a character, as a setting, he's like nearly perfect.
He's what most writers should strive to be. Like having that good, genuine heart.
Well, it's like nothing was ever quite handed to him. He
worked
did it
hard
from the
and
good.
earned
Well, yeah,
everything.
it's like he was a good-willed and good-hearted person.
He treated everyone just like
Yeah,
a person. Like he knew how to deal with people in a non-toxic, positive kind of way. Again, I'll never.
But we also saw him break. He was human.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we saw him like lose his cool. Like, he
Okay, wait.
loses his shit.
We need to save that Kuga conversation for somewhere else. I love Kuga.
I really want to like point out like when he was looking for a kid that like ran away. And like when the kid was talking about how sad he was, he didn't be like, yeah, you know, you always need you always need a reason to smile. Like he just like gets. He's like he physically sits on like a lower stair,
eye to eye,
so he can be eye to eye with him. And he's just like, yeah, it's okay to be sad sometimes because life deals you a bad hand of cards, and it's just all about learning how to deal with it. And it's like, thank you. Oh my god, Kuga's really good.
I love Kuga.
And I feel like
we'll have to talk about that at some point.
I mean, he's not quite there, but Tycoon like. I feel
he's
like
trying his best.
If he were to like get a little bit older and have some more life experiences, I feel like he'd be pretty close. You know what I mean?
He's trying his best.
He's trying his best, but it's where he has like the right heart, but like the world hasn't quite hit him yet, and he hasn't learned quite that yet.
Yeah, and
so
well, it's like he's still
bit of like that naivety. And
but we're seeing him learn that though.
Yeah.
As like that's his character arc.
Yeah, like we've definitely seen him grow even
like
now. But I meant more of like, oh, if like this character were to like be more like his late 20s to 30s.
But yeah, no, I do like honestly like this cast is a very strong cast.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Like the main knit of 4 is really strong. Like it's really interesting.
Okay, we need to move on before we start talking your ear off about Geats. So, or unless you have anything else you want to mention.
Well, no, we have some. No, there's nothing else. I just thought I would be like, hey, cool, but
So someone hijacks the signal. Bet you
who
can't
could
guess
it be?
Bet you can't guess.
It's Baroba.
It's Dracula. But
It's Baroba, and she is now announcing her Yamato Grand Prix. And, whoa! And even fucking Lord Reginald's like,
and we got some backstory on the Yamato.
Well, yeah, it's like they were created just to be the villains.
I was muffled. I have a blanket on, and I accidentally like leaned into it.
Oh, you're doing the Dracula. But like, yeah, no, they state like the rules. What? I couldn't understand a word you were saying.
It's the gelato.
Oh my god.
I didn't.
But so pretty much she has like a very.
She still has the Game Master's belt.
Yeah.
That's like kind of like the goal of like the producer is like to like get that back. I don't know if you have a screenshot of it, but like he mentions it later that that's kind of just like his next big goal. Like we can't do anything without it, so we need to do that next.
Yeah, he's like that's
the next priority, but yeah, she's talking basically.
Her goal is to mug him.
So I feel her whole goal is to be like, oh, whoever. What is like the goal? To defeat the Yamato?
No,
No,
the goal is now for the Yamato to start raising havoc and stealing the game producer's driver.
And who? What was the?
And they get their desired world.
Yeah, wait, how is it that they get their desired world? They bring her the belt, was it?
I think so, yes.
But anyway, so we do learn more about the Yamato, and essentially, like, they did start out as basically just fodder for the games. Like, they weren't meant as nothing but grunts. They're like, tissue paper. You just go through them to go through them. And
the farmer raised them.
And he raised them with love, they said. And by the way, we still haven't seen this guy. I wonder if he got eviscerated. But
we haven't seen Nudge Sparrow though either.
Yeah.
So I'm just hoping. I don't want to trade Psycho Farmer guy for Turd.
But bird turd. But
bird turd.
And like they started to like gain language and thought and I guess sentience in a way.
They have a will. They have a dream. They can send death threats.
Yeah, like, they can send death threats.
He was so proud of that moment.
And like, it's just like, and then, obviously, like, the farmer like was like, you know, trying to get them to have like their ideal world, and they're basically just fighting to stay alive, and they also want to take over
well,
the
we
world.
do get a Jamato Grand Prix rule at the end, and it's like the Jamato Grand Prix is a game where the Jamato fight humanity to get their ideal world. That's what it says.
Yeah, and a cute touch that they didn't need to do was they also had the Jamato language on there,
which is fucking amazing.
It's a great. I also really like the logo that she probably drew up.
But yeah, no, after we get to that, we get Baroba pretty much
they get the
having fun talking to Buffa.
I swear, like, she gives him such bedroom eyes.
She's like,
and
I'll convince you one day.
She's all up in his Kool-Aid. Like, she's like, her, like, I thought she was legitimately gonna kiss his neck at one point. She was so close to it. And she's just like, oh, I really like you because you...
you have just such... she's like, you hate Kamen Riders.
You just have an... what is it that she said?
Indominate.
Indomitable...
Yeah.
I mean, I can't read it that well from this far away. But, and funny enough, I also want to point out a little thing I noticed where Buffa says to her, like, oh, what strange tastes you have, which is actually something that, like, she repeats later. But, yeah, she's just all up in his Kool-Aid, and he's just like, I don't care about entertainment.
Well, she's like, oh, entertain me.
You are a means to an end.
Yeah, because she was just pretty much being like, well, you know, you have entry into the Jamato Grand Prix since you're part Jamato. Because that's what she was telling him.
Oh, I just find you, like, entertaining because you just hate Kamen Riders so much.
Well, yeah.
Or whatever it was that she said, but she's weird.
And then we pretty much get the Jamato start attacking, and the riders are like, "Oh shit, we gotta get down there."
It's not actually a part of the Grand Prix because when they get the signal back, she's like, "I know it's a bad time, but the Jamato are attacking." Surumi, by the way, the navigator, and even though it's not a part of the show, they're not getting any points. They're not being seen. They still go to fight, and it was something that was actually kind of nice because they all go there and they're like, "Ah, Geats, we knew you had a heart."
Well, no, it's like they were all just like, "Why are you here? Why are you here?" Because even one moment, Geats was like, "Oh, I'm heading out," and all of a sudden, Jean was like, "What are you doing?" "I'm going for a stroll. Let's roll." Yeah. And then we get the arrival. Oh my god.
And air guitar.
Yeah. And then we get the arrival of the sponsors because Jean is just like, "Yo, Baroba, I'm taking this shit back." And right before his like goal is like he loves the Grand Prix. He wants nothing but the Grand Prix to be back. That's what he wants.
I almost wonder if that's going to go to a fault at one point. Like he almost doesn't want anything to be solved because he likes watching the show so much.
I don't think he will ever go villainous, because I feel like he will...
I don't know. Like,
I feel like he'll just always observe...
I'm just saying, let's not trust these guys so easily.
No. There's only... I don't really... Yeah, I can agree with you. It's like, I don't think we should trust them, but then again, he's always was trying to observe, like adhere to the rule of, like, we should not be seen. We are only onlookers.
Yeah, we're
only
meant to watch, not interact.
Exactly, where it's like, so technically, I can't say that's bad because I feel like he knows what the future is.
Yeah, but like, at what cost? Like, you know, he wants to keep watching the show, which means that everything's going to constantly be in danger in some way or form.
Well, yeah, so who knows? I guess we'll see if that becomes a problem. I guess somebody write this down and let
us know.
Let
me know if I'm smart or not.
But yeah, no, and then we get
the boy.
We get a man strolling up, being like, "It's me,"
and he does a pose.
Well, no, and everyone's like, "Who the fuck?" Like Baroba's like, "Who the fuck are you?" And like he's like, "It's me," and then he does the statue pose. It's Kikura.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, he does in fact have green in his hair.
Yes, and he even says he's like, my human designs not bad, right? Where it's like, so is he just the statue?
It makes me really wonder, like, because this was a cool conversation we got onto, where it's like, what exactly do these people look like? Because this makes me feel like he actually... Because, again, these are interdimensional space beings from the future.
These are some from so far in the future, they might not even have human bodies anymore.
Exactly. So it's like... So it makes me wonder, like, oh, do they have a thing where, like, they can, like, take different forms? Like, this is just their human forms. Is he actually that statue? And I feel like there actually is things to... like, show for that, because when
he has the teeth.
When Zine was with him, they were eating oranges. Like, there was...
Oh yeah, I can bring the screenshot back. We never talked about it. Yeah. He ate more oranges than Zine.
Yeah, and it's like, and the peels were there. It's like, I highly doubt Zine would just start a second pile for no reason. You know,
that was a big bowl of oranges.
It wouldn't be like brought up like, hey, why are you putting orange peels next to me? And also, like, when he's talking with Tycoon that one time, and he just kind of, like, teleports next to him. Like, he can move on his own. Tycoon didn't move him.
Well, but we did see Tycoon pick him up one time, and he was just static.
Yeah, but, like...
That could be he was scared.
Moved. Like, he was fearful.
He's like, put me down!
Frogs actually do that. Like, you know the, like, weird, like, sitting position you see them in? Like,
yeah.
They actually, like, can't move when you put them in that position because of, like, a fear response. Like, they're just immobile until you like... knock him over, basically.
But yeah, by the way, I love that this actor is committing.
Oh, so much. And I love that he's wearing the same exact outfit as the statue, which is something you pointed out.
I love that detail. You heard me go on it for a long period of time on that detail.
Oh, by the way, about, like, the human forms, like, we even went a little further of, like, oh, what if Kyun just is the paper?
Yeah, what if he's just the piece of paper?
It's like, oh, you know, or even further, like, what if...
The rider form.
The rider forms are technically their true forms, and their human form, like, it... because of, like, circumstances or the world that they're in, blah, 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 whatever fucking reason.
So they can blend in.
It's like, so they can blend or whatever. They have to use a transformation device to, like, become into their normal forms.
I'm going to assume no, since they're labeled as common riders.
We'll have to see.
And he even says it's a different...
There's something with that quote where he says, my human design's not bad. Like,
well, there's something about like, specifically about Kikura, yes.
I mean, come on, there's two of them where they have incorporeal forms. Come on. Like...
because Gene did say earlier in the episode, he's like, oh yeah, my driver system...
Use of that word, I'm realizing.
What?
Incorporeal.
I don't know.
Like, because, like, one's a paper and one's a frog statue with a speaker.
I guess.
It just makes me... I don't know if that's the correct word, but whatever.
But yeah, no, and he even told him that his driver system was different. And then they all transform. We get Big Frog Boy, Lion Card Face Boy.
I almost wonder if it's more of a griffin because it does, like, grow wings and fly.
Well, it's funny. It's funny you say that because I'm 90% sure this is a reused model of, like, either Chimera or, like, that lion from Saber that Blades turned into. Like, this is a straight-up reuse of a model.
Why not? And I don't know if
come on, Baroba, Breaking Mammoth.
That's also fair. I almost wonder, I mean, maybe they also use, like, the same animation. Like, maybe that's, like, oh, they have, like, a skeleton of, like, certain joints, you know, it's like, oh, this is how it moves, and then they just, like, put a different skin over it, you know, with Breaking Mammoth. It's like, oh, why not reuse it? But, one of the things that's like, oh, we know that, like, Gene has, like, gravity stuff. Like, he can, like, control gravity, he can flip around, it's really cool. It's not super clear, like, we could be wrong, but, like, the other ones are actually pretty interesting, like, again, the cat can fly. I don't know if that's its thing, but that's all I really saw.
Well, we didn't see the fight for that long.
The frog has, like, a laser tongue whip.
It's like...
And, again, like, maybe those are just, like, their mechs, so that's just, like, what they have. But or maybe that's their abilities. We don't really know.
We'll have to see.
Baroba is just big.
Baroba's just big. Big. And can float, don't forget.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, no. Do you have anything else to say? I enjoyed it. We managed to actually... We talked about this a lot longer than I thought we would, but then again, there was a lot to talk about.
So yeah,
it was good. I liked it.
This is, like, one of the first times I can say in a while that, like, this clip show was, like, very entertaining and it's worth watching.
We haven't been able to say that since whenever the Donbrothers clips episode was.
Yeah.
Who remembers that one?
That was, like, the VIP episode, right?
Yeah, that was the one who was the MVP.
MVP, right.
And that's where Kaido revealed that, like, he may or may not be Zenkaiser Kaido. Mm-hmm. Like, because they used Zenkaiser clips. That was so weird. We'll get to that. So... Yeah, that's
we don't have any Ultraman, so yeah, I guess we can just go into Donbrothers, huh?
That's it. We're going right into the Donbrothers.
And I imagine we're going to be talking a lot about the series as a whole, right?
We'll talk about the final episode, our thoughts on the episode. So we might speed through it. Like, again, you want to see our actual initial thoughts?
Like
go check out the commentary.
Live, right?
Like, yeah, our live reaction.
Also, me just yelling, don't kill the people I like. No, don't. I forgot the don't part because I commented that of just like, don't kill the people I like. But I should have included the don't.
But yeah, no. But they have some very like similar scenes. Because much like the first episode, how it opened up with Haruka winning a manga award,
And
this
flashing back.
yeah, it opens up. No, this is a flash forward technically.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like it starts with this. And
Yeah,
it's
and
like
it
3
reveals that
months ago.
she's and and it's like, oh, it's she made a Donbrothers manga.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much the episode is, and this is what's very heartbreaking, is Taro was just going into everybody and asking, he's like, do you regret
being a part of the Donbrothers?
Donbrothers? And each scene plays out very interesting and very differently. And like Haruka's was just saying, oh, I'm making a Donbrothers manga. Sarahara was just kind of having a moment with him.
Yeah, because he's like I don't even know how to describe it. He's a lot more like symbolic about and like metaphorical with how he speaks about it.
Yeah. But like, and like he says one last haiku, and then Taro just kind of walks away. Mm-hmm. But when he walked away from Haruka, he was like, I'm sorry. He's like, goodbye, and I'm sorry. Because, you know, we've been noticing something's up. His memory's kind of...
I think even he knows at this point.
And with Tsubasa, we get a scene with him and Natsumi. And, yeah, he never told Natsumi.
God.
Which is his mess up.
Look, I'm going to say right here, right now, the relationship dynamic between Tsubasa, Natsumi, and Kaji Brother irks me a little bit.
We'll get to that.
I'll probably go on some sort of
Can you save it for that? But
no, but like she even asked like, "Are you ever gonna tell me?" And he's just like, "You wouldn't believe me even if I did."
Which is
fucking stupid. It's like, dude, just tell her.
But hey,
at least after that, it's up to her whether she believes you or not. At least you put your part into it.
But hey, here's the thing I want to say though.
She also didn't tell him about like her fucking like weird shit with Kaji Brother.
But like he knew though. He accepted it. He wasn't trying to fight it, being like, "Oh no, don't do that."
Adam,
he accepted it.
Here's the thing: we haven't told him what is happening. She literally breaks up with him.
Yeah. She was like, "I want to say something," and he's like, "Don't say it. I know."
I already know, and it's like he took it so well. He was very mature about it. Just like, I understand. He wants her to be happy.
Yeah.
You know, and just he's very understanding and
like again, it's like he accepts that because he's not telling her that he's losing her. And they even mention that he's like, it's such an anticlimax. He's like, I tried so hard to get her back
and I couldn't keep her.
Exactly.
It hurts so much because like we saw this guy fight tooth and nail the whole show. But I feel like that kind of shows a lot of his personality. Well, like, even after all that, he's still willing to let her go.
And, like...
You know, he still, like, sees her, like, as a person.
And when Taro comes up to meet him, he obviously is like, who's that? He's like, Natsumi, did you forget? And, like, he immediately, actually, before Taro can initiate the conversation of, hey, do you regret the Donbrothers? Which I'm realizing, I think him and Kajino don't bring it up, just bring it up themselves.
Yeah.
But, like, Tsubasa's like, he's like, it's probably because I'm in the Donbrothers. But he's also just like, but in a way, I still want to be a part of the team. He's like, I want to do this.
And he's like, I wanted to be able to defend people that have that love or people that are loved because I don't want anyone else to lose that.
Exactly. And it's like, it was a very touching moment. Like,
just saying that hurts.
But like, so it's
my heart.
And it's just one of those things where it's like seeing him interact with Taro and everything. And Taro just kind of was like, okay.
And also, can I just say, like, we see more of it later, and I might, like, point it out, but, like, can I just say how, I don't mean to get, like, political or anything, but, like, how nice it is, like, he's just, is basically completely going against, like, toxic masculinity, of, like, oh, he's...
Remember when he was a goblin?
He's like the, yeah, when he was in his little devil costume. But, like, you know, he's this, like, tough, like, you know...
He was a bad boy.
Like, delinquent-looking bad boy who's running from the law this whole time.
Yeah, I heard you like bad boys.
Time, like, again, he's mature when it comes to, like, who he's been fighting for this whole time leaves him.
Hey,
he wants to defend love and...
Kajino?
He respects Kajino.
He tried to give him closure. He tried to just help him.
And, like, we do, like, see him get emotional and cry and, like...
see
and
him
just
freak out over Taro dying.
Express joy and sorrow. You know,
Click
it's
his heels together.
It's just like yeah, and he
We'll
clicks
get
his
to it.
fucking heels together.
We
like,
will get.
Look, we're talking about Donbrothers and we talk about Donbrothers.
I know.
I just wanted to say a little thing, like where like I just feel like that's very refreshing. Where like usually this guy would be like, whatever, you know.
Well, yeah, when we read, we'll get to. You know what? We'll get it to when we get into characters.
We called him an edgy Sonic OC.
Yeah, exactly. We thought he was gonna be like Shadow the Hedgehog.
But like it was refreshing.
It was really nice to see him also interact with Taro, and Taro just kind of being like, "Oh, okay," and then kind of moves on to Kajino. And again, Kajino, this was a big growing moment for him. Good for him.
By the way, I think I said like when he was like putting all of like his wedding like pictures and stuff, I said it was a trash can. I think it was like a moving box.
It just might have been a moving box.
My bad.
But like,
I weirdly can't tell. But like, and he is like. And he has, like, such a powerful moment of, like...
He's like, oh, I hold pride in being a Donbrother.
Like, I want... It, like, it's a big part of, like, what I like about myself, and I want to fight for myself. I want to help save myself. I want to figure myself out.
Well, he's like, I want to save people he pretty much said, he's like, I want to save people because that'll help me save myself. That's...
Which is, like... So much growth for him. I'm so happy for him.
Exactly.
So mad.
You're so bitter. Don't say you're mad. You're bitter.
I don't care.
But like, then I guess that's pretty much it because those are the 5 Donbrothers, and we'll get to that in a little bit after that because we need to talk about how we have 2 new Naotos. One of them is Kiksa. The other is some lady.
I think you found out. I don't remember exactly how. Like. These people are just called, like, the executioners.
Yeah, no, that's what they call them. They said they're the highest Naoto executioners. Mm-hmm. It's like Sononya and Sonon
and by the way, my god, these new Naoto shit themselves when they see these people. They have such... The actors,
they suck. The
actors did such a good job. I have to shout out the girl Naoto in particular. Do you remember her name?
Is it... I'm gonna look it up.
Sonoshi or something?
No, Sonoshi's the red one. Sonoya is the Kiksa one. Oh my god, I don't know her name. No, that's one of the other ones.
Either way, like, the
I'll look
did
it up.
Such a good job.
Do you want to say that you called what she was gonna say while we were watching it?
Oh yeah, where we're like, who's the most beautiful woman? And I was just like, me, bitch. And then like they like take off their robe and they're like, me. And I was like, yeah.
Oh wait, I went to the wrong page. This is Kamen Rider.
Oh my gosh. But anyway, like the look of complete and utter fear and despair in that person's face, even as they transformed, was really intense. And
well, and then they just stole their armor, both of them, and then just killed them.
They just straight murdered them, and they were like so scared, like they were like screaming and running away.
Well, even Sonoshi's like, oh no.
Like he even freaks out. Like he's like, well, hold on a minute, and then like he like runs away. And I noticed they were on like a little bouncy pad. Like,
well, yeah, of course, Sononya.
Sononya, yeah.
I think that's him. Of course, he gets to use Murasame. And if you don't know who played,
by the way, something you said afterwards was like, oh, like he just kind of flew out of.
Yeah, he flew. Yeah, because Tsubasa sat down and near the end.
He called him.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I wonder. I'm like, because it was like right after Tsubasa had that powerful speech, Murasame flew off. I was like, oh my god, did he figure out his arc? No, Kiksa called him. So yeah, Kiksa, he's the actor who played Kiksa in Kamen Rider 5.
Oh yeah, and you noticed a lot of stuff about him that I didn't. So I'll let you kind of...
Because he does some very similar facial expressions for his characters.
He also really, really, really wanted to be in this show.
Sonona.
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 Okay.
So yeah, Sononya is Kiksa, who's played by Kohai Murakami, I want to say. Which, by the way, he is the one who helps everyone celebrate Kiksa Day on 9/13, so...
Is that coming up?
No, that's in September.
Like September, right?
Yeah. But yeah, no, like he's reappeared as this character, which, by the way, I think if you didn't know who the person who wrote Fies was, it was actually the same person who wrote Donbrothers. Oh my god, what was his first name? It's something Inoue, I think. But like no. But yeah, no, you could tell he threw some jokes to do Keeksa-isms, I like to call it, because he did the same creepy smile and all of this. And I know as a person that he doesn't always have to do it. He's not a one-trick pony, because he was actually in Zyuohger, and he didn't really do any kind of Keeksa-isms. But he knew it. But apparently he was watching the show, and he was really excited, and he was really hoping that he could get part of it, but there was reached a certain point where he had lost hope. And then he got the call to do this, and he probably was so excited.
He probably threw a freaking party. Yes! I mean, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't want to be in Donbrothers? He's just like, please invite me. He probably, like, kept sending him emails like, please.
He's like,
please.
He's like, come on, you know me.
Come on. You can kill me if you want. Like...
Oh, we'll get to that. But yeah, no, so pretty much those two Naoto, and...
by the way, like, the Mason one was, like, particularly brutal. It was quick, but, like, oof.
And do we want to go to Taro with his dad, or do we want to go with the other four talking to Kaido?
I think we should probably do Kaido and his dad, just because I feel like...
At the same time, I guess.
They're a little bit short.
Well, they're side by side.
That's fair.
Because, like, they pretty much go in, they're like, what's wrong with Taro? In, like, Kaido just says... He's on the verge of being reset.
His memory's, like, reset after a certain...
well, his job is done.
Yeah.
No, it's because his job is done. They literally state, they're like, with the 3 Naoto joining and Jiro maturing...
He's good.
It's like he can rest.
Yeah.
It's like, it literally... Kaido says, it's time for him to rest.
Mm-hmm. And, something fucking interesting.
Yeah, because they show him as Don Momotaro, and his armor goes from red...
to white and black.
White and black. But the only reason, it's hard to say if that has anything to do with Senkaiser.
But, like, it's so similar, like, it looks like it is intentional.
Yeah, he never transforms into it, by the way. It's just, like, it's just a one shot we get.
A white peach, I believe he is, right?
Yeah, which, by the way, in some stories and some peaches, there are white peaches.
Yeah, there are white peaches, is the thing. But, just like, but like that's gotta be like connected to Kaido in some way, right?
Yeah, and
that looks so purposeful.
Well, matter of fact, to show you more of his memories disappearing, we even had him at work, and they were like, "Oh, hey, so and so missed that you didn't deliver his package," and Taro was like, "Who?" And it was the guy from the first episode.
Yeah, the one where he cleaned his house.
Yeah, and like you remember he gave him a special thing on his forehead, and he did better. Mm-hmm. And oh, geez, the rain. Hope you guys can't hear that. You probably can't.
Probably not, but if you hear a little thing in the background, that's rain.
But yeah, no. So yeah.
And
he has this moment with his dad.
And they're eating onigiri together. He changes into like a more normal...
Well, yeah, you just see him step out of his cage. He pulls out a table and some mats. And he forgets his dad.
Yeah, like they like make onigiri for each other and pass it.
Yeah, he's like...
And he's just like, well, who are you again? And just,
he's like, I think I know you. And he's in like Jin was just like, don't worry about it.
God, that actor just looked...
And then
such good, subtle acting. And I think this is why we see him just depressed throughout the whole show, because he's probably seen this at least a couple times, right?
Maybe. Like, I guess we'll find out. Like,
I'm
that's the sad... I want to know more, but the show is over.
You know what? You said, like, I think either while we were recording the commentary or afterwards, you had said, like, oh... What if that's why, like, he doesn't really look at him while he's at the table?
Yeah, it's like
or like
that's a theory I have.
I wonder if, like, he could tell that this was someone that needs respect, or he, like, recognized him in a way, and then he, like, treated him with respect. Because, like, we both agreed that was, like, we both know that, but it's like, I guess maybe Taro had, like, reset at one point, and he doesn't know that that's his dad. But, like, at the same time, he also knows about, like, when he was a kid, like, with his birthdays and, like, the rhinoceros beetle and stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, has he reset before?
Yeah, and pretty much, and then we get to Sonoy.
Either way, like, the actor, again, just fantastic acting. He looks like he was on the verge of tears. It made me choke up. I was very upset.
Yeah, and, like, Taro, I think Sonoy finds out. I think he might also be...
He walked in while they were talking to
Oh, yes. Okay, so yeah, the other three walked in.
he was so upset.
Yeah, and he, like, pretty much, he went to go find Taro. He's like, is it true? And
you're forgetting your friends? He's like, yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, I need to ask you something. I need you to help me with something. He's like, my friends invited me to do something, and I need your help. And you pretty much find out they're all out to go get Odin. And
they're all there except for
The other two.
Yeah, the other two. Not
We'll get to
though.
them in a second.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in just a second.
Because this is the saddest thing ever.
I think this is probably the most heartbreaking scene in the episode.
And
for
multiple levels, because Jiro doesn't understand it.
It broke my soul.
Like, Jiro doesn't fully understand it. They're like, oh, why are we acting like Taro's leaving? And everything, because he wasn't there for the information dump.
Yeah. And Tsubasa
like,
is only just now in the loop learning about things.
We'll get to him in a second.
He's like freshly upset about it, you know?
Yeah. And pretty much Sonoi's there just to remind him who they are.
And like, he tells them each of their names, like, oh, that's Haruka.
And he says something and asks me, and he's just like, oh.
Well, he says their full names, but I don't remember them.
Exactly. And
then, like, Taro, like, says something to them each time where it's just like, I really hope to read your manga one day. Or, like, I really hope to, like, read a booklet of your haiku, or I really want to see you like. Kaji Brothers losing.
Stay strong.
So Kaji Brothers sobbing like.
Yeah. He's just like, stay strong.
He's just like, your name means strength, and I hope you live up to it, kind of thing.
Yeah, and then Tsubasa.
He's like, I wish we had more time.
And that broke my heart.
And again, this was like the moment I was talking about earlier, where it's like he's genuinely upset. He's like choked up and crying because it's like he didn't get to spend much time with his friend. And again, it's just like,
where it's like,
a sensitive boy.
Well, it's like it justifies how we were feeling, because it's like we just wanted more of this, and even the characters are regretting it. Mm-hmm. It was written in that way. And then the biggest heartbreaking moment of it all,
when he goes to tell him about Tsubasa,
he turns to him and gets ready to tell him who it is. He's like, okay, who are you?
Why are you doing that? Like,
yeah, exactly.
And when
you see Sonoi,
you see his heart shatter. It's just...
Exactly. And then he just decides to not say anything or correct him or say who he is.
He like takes a breath and he's just like,
you can tell how heartbreaking broken
he
is.
The beautiful thing about Odin is you can end up sitting with strangers and still feel comforted or something like that.
Which, by the way, the shop owner actually gave him a thing. Yeah. By the way, I wasn't expecting that shop owner to be a running character.
Yeah, and I would have expected you to have to talk like this for so many episodes. Ooh. But like, yeah, and he gives him like a whole bowl, and he's like, "Here, it's on the house," you know. And and Haruka even says like, "Oh, eat as much as you want," but like.
But, like, no, remember, he, at that moment, because he saw Sonoi, he probably saw the look on his face of his heart breaking, and he put something in his bowl, he's like, oh, here.
Yeah, here's an egg.
Yeah,
that
he was
one
like,
of his favorites.
Well, yeah, and like, that's when he went into that speech that you were saying, and then, like, he's like, yeah, it is pretty great, and then, like...
And... Oh my god. So like here's the thing, like he hears a thing and he's like, oh,
it's one of Sononi's arrows.
I think he excuses himself or something, and he sees one of Sononi's arrows on the top of the Odin cart, and this is very much a call for help. And
cut to them.
So what they have been doing is what's his name?
Sonoshi was killed by Murasame.
He runs up to them like, help me, and then they just walk up and just slash him with Murasame, and then they start to fight them off as best that they can, but they're getting their asses handed to him. That's why she shoots off the arrow to try and get help. And then... He joins in, and how powerful is it that these guys were villains? These were literally the guys that were fighting against the Donbrothers, and now they are fighting just for Taro to have like some last enjoying moments with his friends.
Which, by the way, we do get to see the end of that scene, and he kind of just drives away, and they're just kind of like, we can't do anything. We gotta let Taro rest.
Him go. I jokingly was just like, look, he's driving the wrong way.
And he quite literally was.
Yeah.
He wasn't following.
I think he forgot how to drive.
But yeah, no, so...
And then all the Donbrothers run up to help them out.
Yeah, and Jiro was like...
by the way, Taro was just like, I trust you to
do this.
I trust you to lead the Donbrothers, and he like bowed to him to show like his respect, and he knows Jiro is grown, and just like that was one of the first things that he said, and Jiro was just like, why are you saying that?
Well, yeah, he was really confused, and then he got really sad, and then like he's like, oh, I can't let. He's like, oh, Taro left me in charge, so I can't let things go to shit.
And then they just full on fight. Tsubasa rides Kajino into battle. And Murasame
he rebels.
He's like, I don't like you.
Yeah, he literally tells Sononia, he's like, I don't like you, and that's why I'm fighting you.
I'm rebelling.
He's like, I'm rebelling. And all of a sudden, like, Mother was just like, yes. By the way, so where's my fan art of Murasame as Norman Bates?
But, oh my god, that's a good one. But Taro actually goes back to the Donbrothers Cafe, And Kaido is like, here, the manga artist wanted you to have
The
this.
author wanted
Or
this.
the author wanted you to have this.
And it was the
And
manga.
It's the Donbrothers manga. And he starts reading it.
And he starts just crying.
Yeah, it's like the most emotional I think we've ever seen Taro.
And like we get the final page of
like,
Don Momotaro.
No. Like I feel like let's go through this a little bit. Like, you know, he goes through like his whole like the whole story of like what they've been through.
Well, to a certain point, I imagine she doesn't have it all done.
Yeah, but like she got moments between just her, just.
Well,
him
yeah,
and,
that's
like,
they brought back the Beetle moment.
She probably talked to everybody to try and piece as much together as possible so that he could have his memories back in at least some way or form.
Well, yeah, and it's like we got like them referencing the Beetle, him and Sonoy talking about the moon, him first meeting Haruka. And it's like, it's very big moments, and it like actually flashed to those scenes. And again, it was just like, you could see on the expression on his face where it's like, it's him getting like
emotional damage.
Well, yeah, and then it ends on him in the roll call.
And it's blank.
Yes, and then we cut back to the battle.
And who rides in on his triumphant?
It's been a hot minute since he showed up last, which he always usually does. And he has the full entourage. And he's telling you the festival is on, and
now it's celebrate.
Yeah, and I love that he's like, this is just sad. Mm-hmm. And then they do a roll call.
He's like, no, he's like, on your feet and declare yourselves.
Yeah.
Oh my god, do you think that's because he doesn't remember?
Well, yeah, I told you that, I think, either while we were watching it or while we were rewatching it for the screenshots, where I'm like, do you think he did that just so he knew who everyone was? But like, so yeah, we open up with Sonoy and the other two Naoto, which was amazing. Murasame joined in.
Hells yeah.
And obviously Jiro did
Torval.
Well, Jiro just did both. Like, he didn't change, actually. Like, he changed forms, but he didn't change, like, personalities.
Sar brother, Oni sister, Inoue, Kaji brother.
And then there's just a moment of silence while everyone looks, while Taro just kind of stands there. And, like, we're just like, oh my god.
Born from a peach, Momotaro!
Yeah, and then
boy! And
then we get this amazing little festival float, which has everyone in it. You can see the Murasame altar, both things for...
the boat.
Yeah, the boat, the Any Ride-On, all of them. And it's like, the Donbrothers are doing the pose that they do in the passerbys. The Naoto are there posing. It's fucking amazing. And
I would love to have that as like a desktop background or something.
Yeah, and then we have, and like the other people are like, "Oh, is this the power of Don Momotaro?" And he just starts spinning that sword like a motherfucker.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I mention real quick when Kaido handed him the manga, I jokingly said that it was like
yes
the tab for everybody.
Yeah, it's like, this is the bill.
This is a bill.
This is a bill.
Because that's something he would do.
Exactly.
But yeah, and he just spins that, and he takes them out all on his freaking own.
And
because of course he does.
Looks awesome.
It's
like,
fantastic.
watch this scene.
Watch at least this.
Watch
scene,
this scene.
Because he's literally like cutting through the darkness and it's beautiful.
And they just fucking explode. And you get another great shot after the thing is like explodes, and then he's gone.
He's just gone.
He moved on.
And then we get a little bit of an update.
We get a "Where Are They Now" segment.
Yeah, because like we see the manga thing happening where like she's like. She, like, has all her friends next to her, and I think that might be a little bit later, but, like, you know...
Well, that's later with the manga, yeah.
Yeah, but, yeah, we get, like, a little bit of a "Where Are They Now," and...
Like, Tsubasa's with Sononi running constantly.
Yeah, because Sononi is now a wanted criminal, and she's
To be fair, she shot at the cops!
I'm realizing I love the screenshot you got, because it's just her hand.
Oh, yeah, it's just her hand in there.
And they're running hand in hand, and I imagine this is probably, at least, like, an insinuation that, like, they're either in a relationship or they're like getting closer to that, you know, they're bonding and stuff. And she's
your favorite thing of Kajino has Natsumi creeping up on him. They left it ambiguous. Don't be that mad.
Yeah,
but she's
like, as he's like moving out and leaving, he like drops the box. By the way, she's just like, "Would you like to continue the dream together?" And he just like doesn't. He responds, but like
he just turns around and just kind of looks.
He doesn't answer.
Yeah,
like, he's just like like he's like stuttering a lot. Sara brother says one last haiku. He takes off his thing. Funny enough.
If anyone knows the actual significance, can you please tell me in the comments?
It's as you take your leave, do not see your footsteps on this snowy night.
Like, I imagine the poem means something, too, where it's like, obviously it's meaning Taro.
Yeah. Like, I mean, if you think about it, it's like you're leaving, but you're not really.
Yeah, and it's like...
Like, you're only, like... I guess, you know, like, again, it's, like, very
yeah.
metaphorical, but
where it's like, but I can't see... He's like, I saw you leave, but I don't... It's pretty much, I think it's meaning, like, almost like how he left, but instead of in fire, he made it snow.
Mm-hmm.
So... I don't know. And then we pretty much have them standing up and Haruka being like, oh, these are true stories.
Also, like, little tidbit that she says the same things as she did when she got the first award.
Like, oh.
Sorry Brother isn't wearing his thing. But I also noticed that Sononi is wearing a black hat to represent Tsubasa. And Tsubasa just has, like, this big white scarf. Did he steal that from Geats?
He might have.
Like,
which, by the way,
did you white scarf to,
did
like,
you like that
her.
Natsumi was wearing a pink sweater?
Oh, you know what? I didn't even really think about that, but yeah.
Jiro has wearing his tiger bands outside of his suit.
How fucking
because that's a choice.
How hard was it for them to find, like, a silk gold ruffled shirt like that? But and we go to Haruka.
Which, by the way, I think the writer of the show is in this shot. So in the screenshot that you saw, like, he's the one holding the award. I think that's the writer. I might be wrong.
Sweet.
Wait, actually, I guess we could look it up right here. Well, but like. All right, then we ended. She's making the manga, and
she's continuing it. She's continuing the story.
Yeah, and Sonazo was like, "Hey, maybe you should exaggerate that part more. Maybe you should do this."
He's on like a FaceTime.
Yeah, exactly. And she's like,
"You're so hard on me." And then like she's like, because like the door rings or something, and she's like, "Hey, can you get that, aunt?" And she's just like, "No, I'm busy." So she goes, and
who is it but a white rabbit salesman?
And he's like, looks like we've made a bond. And like, again, you can kind of see a lot of his like early mannerisms, like before he like fully like lets himself be himself around them.
His hair was very different though. That didn't change back.
Yeah.
But to be fair, that was at the start of the show, so the hair never really kind of worked.
I like the textured look. I'm much more of a fan of that than like the straight hair.
Yeah. I think that's just more of, also time and hair. So like
I also made the joke. I don't know if I actually said it out loud in the podcast, but like, oh, it's a white rabbit. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. You're not the cop I deliver a bunch of candy to. Like,
oh, no. Oh, my God. And then we get we get the handoff. We get, is it King-Ohger, I want to say his name is?
The next red.
Yeah. And they're just kind of hanging out. They're broing out. They're in front of the Beetle Castle.
Together. Oh, also, Geats actually did a thing. I don't know if it was, like, on Twitter specifically, or if it was
like on a TikTok or something,
or TikTok or whatever. But Geats actually was just like, oh, this is what's happening. And Geats next, and also, the festival is at its end, and he puts up, like, the
that's
sunglass sword.
That's the writer.
Oh, that's nice. I like that. He puts up the sunglass sword, and he does actually a really good, like, Taro laugh.
Yeah, he did.
So that was really fun. We ended up getting that translated. We saw it on Twitter, but like it wasn't translated, so that was cool to see.
By the way,
oh my god, man, my heart, it hurts.
Yeah. By the way, he wrote most episodes of Donbrothers.
Yeah, it looks like it.
He only didn't. I don't think the only one he didn't write was the last one. The one, not the last one. The clip show episode. Like,
Santa struggling.
Holy shit. I'm about to say, damn. Dedication.
God.
And
what are we gonna do without this show?
We're gonna watch King-Ohger. We at least still have Geats.
Again, I just hope, just be good. You don't have to be great. You don't have to fill the shoes.
Be fun. That's all I'm asking you to be.
You don't have to fill the shoes that Donbrothers left, but just
because this is a big thing.
Donbrothers. I'm just glad that Sentai did.
But yeah, what's your favorite episode of Donbrothers? Not I'm about to say both you and the audience.
I want to know. Legitimately.
Mine. That's a hard one because it's like, do I want to go with one that is?
I really enjoyed the Ghost Girl episode.
That was a good one. That was a sweet episode.
That was one of
Hello Ghost was episode 19.
That was probably one of my favorites.
Honestly, those the ones that were like I think it was the duel where it was like when Sonoi quote unquote died. And,
that was a great episode.
well, and then I loved it for the duel with part 2. I think it was
the episode where it was revealed that Taro and Sanoi were on opposite sides.
That was another great one. I think that one is the moon lying.
I also do want to shout out, like, again, like, one of the later episodes where, like, again, like, they finally all sat down together.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. What, before they knew each other? Or, which I think that was the last one, which was, like...
The conference one, I think.
The conference one was also really cool. Like, there was just so many good episodes. And... like, it's like, here's something I'm gonna say. It's like, I'm gonna say Donbrothers is something where you can almost equate it to something that Taro said about himself. He's like, there's never going to be a show like this ever again.
Yeah.
Like, because it's just, I'm not saying it's like, oh, it's so unique, but it's like, it was, its job was to tell you its story. Like, this was not dedicated. Well, it did not. There is not an episode outside of maybe the clip show episode, but that one's so entertaining. Just watch it. Like, there's not an episode I would tell you to be like, oh, you could skip that one.
Yeah.
Like, there's not an episode I could tell you, like, to do that. Like, for us personally, I think this show nailed it every week.
Yeah.
It may not have.
Hear it. Like, we.
Like, we have never.
Also,
like,
the one where Senoni died was also really good.
That was a good one. But, like, it's like, seriously, go back. Like, did you ever hear us? It's like, maybe we didn't say it won the whole week, but that could have been something hit a little bit stronger. But Donbrothers.
None of them were bad.
Yeah, it's like, there was not an episode where we're like, oh, this episode. Like, with Decker, we were like.
Oh, the con artist episode.
That one was fucking amazing. That one was great.
That was funny as fuck.
Oh, so good.
That was so.
But, like, it's one
Taro,
of.
like, breaking.
But yeah, no, it's like. And it's like one of those things where it's like, yeah, are there going to be some naysayers that are going to come out after this? Probably. But for us personally, and especially our experience, like, we were doing this the whole time, you know? So it's like we also have it archived in a way. So it's like, whatever, because I feel like we have these questions now, especially when we were watching Revice, we're like, oh, did we say this? It's like, oh, man, because it's like, that's the whole reason we did the show, was we need to record our thoughts so we could refer back to them if we need to. And...
also, we just like talking about it, so why not?
Well, yeah, might as well share it. But yeah, let's get into characters.
I think I have to say, like, my top 2 are probably the Hello Ghost episode and the con artist one. Those are probably my 2 favorites.
I think it's Off-Putting Family, is that
so.
one?
I think those are 2 of my favorites. Unexpected button pressing was a wild ride.
Oh my god, episode 49 was called Last Memories. You fucker. This writer knows how to break people's hearts, and I hope everyone knows this. He's done it before, and he'll do it again if you let him. But hey, Tsubasa made it out unscathed.
By the
He's
way,
alive. He's still
alive.
breathing.
Again, like, I got real scared when I saw that bench. I was so scared they were gonna kill Taro, honestly.
Oh my god.
I do want to say there is going to be a movie and a lot of like stuff around Kaido and Zenkaiger.
Supposedly, we were told.
Supposedly is going to be revealed in this. I cannot fucking wait for this cast to interact, by the way.
That's my most excited thing.
casts.
Like, I will say, I'm kind of burnt out on crossovers, but I love those 2 casts so much, I need to see them interact.
Because, like, I loved Zenkaiger. And I love Donbrothers.
You are very apprehensive
I am so
because of
for
your
this.
love for Zenkaiger.
Yeah, again, like, I there's one thing I remember very, very early on. I still remember very clearly.
What were your earliest memories with Donbrothers that you remember clearly then?
My very most clearest memory was just being still bitter because it's just like, Zenkaiger is over. You're not Zenkaiger. Like, you know what I mean? I was just so mad.
So do you see now why you have to have the mentality of just being like, we gotta let whatever's gonna play out next?
I know, but like, I was just, especially since Kaido was in this and he was super different, I'm just like, okay, but please tell me why.
But now
and
you
they
think
never did, and I'm gonna have to wait for the movie. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm so used to Kaido having this personality and attitude that I feel like I'm gonna get thrown off if he ends up going back to being like,
he is
the happy-go-lucky
he is going to. He's going to, though.
What a great actor.
I loved
he fits into both of those roles.
Like, I would say, like,
he looks older somehow, even though he's literally like
he's only a year older. he felt different. But he was great. So yeah, like I can't wait for the Zenkaiger movie, Zenkaiger Donbrothers movie. So
And we will talk about it.
So yeah.
We will talk about it.
All right. Do we want to talk about our favorite characters? Who was your favorite Donbrother? Who was your favorite? And I'm about to say, I'm counting all 9 of them in this one. We're at the end of the show. I'm counting all 9. Like
that's hard, man.
It is hard. It is hard.
I'd have to say 1 and 2 are very close, but I'd say Taro is probably my favorite, followed by Inoue brother.
I can agree. Like Taro,
He's a gem. He's a fucking gem, and I love
it's like
him.
because it's so funny because it's like with how they wrote he was written so well, and it's like it could have been done terribly because again he's a person who's perfect to a fault, but the world punishes him for that. Not in like, oh, the world's beating him up and like he's down and trodden. No, just because of what he is and who he is and like almost the perfectionist in himself, nobody likes him. Mm-hmm. He's very abrasive. But he
finds his friends and they love and accept him
for who he is.
For who he truly is. Again, like when I say like he like demasked around them, like I was kind of insinuating of just like how like, you know, people with like autism mask around people and like they act quote unquote what they think should be normal. And it's like once you get more comfortable with people, like you show more of your actual self. And that can be really fucking scary, obviously, because you're not
Which I'm realizing, it's not 9 of them, it's 10 of them. I forgot Murasame.
Murasame's in on the crew now. By the way, not a lot of Murasame got explained, but you know what? I think I'm okay with it. I don't think he needs explaining. He just kind of is Murasame. By the way, we saw in a preview for the movie that he is running the Donbrothers Cafe, and I screamed. It looks so funny.
He's just him in a little bow tie.
But anyway, back to what I was saying.
I run a business.
I mean, I'm not going to say anything about, like, the character, but, like, I feel like that's a good comparison of just, like, again, he's, like, very, like, big smiles, and, like, his voice is higher pitched. He's not as exaggerated. But, like, you know, once, like, that moment happened where he knew that these people were his friends and people he could trust, these are his companions, and he had that genuine smile, and he started to learn what happiness was.
Well, yeah, and it's like...
like, you know, he got more of, like, his, like, normal stoic face, but, like, going into, like, big expressions whenever he did, like, he got louder, or he, like, said his opinions without fearing what they said, and just...
Well, it's like, I don't think he ever feared that,
but he stopped straightening his hair, like...
But, like, yeah, meanwhile, it's like, I can tell you about this whole, like...
His growth was
all these characters
himself.
Well, all these characters are so great, and I can tell you little bits about each of them. Like
we know their personalities and they're all unique.
Well, yeah, fucking Sour Brother Sauerhara is a fucking gem.
He must be protected at all costs.
Like I'm not gonna say he's like a spectacular deep depth character.
One with the dance.
Yeah, that was a great one. But like he's not a deep integral character who got these big arcs and huge storylines, but he was just so simple. He was just a peaceful guy who couldn't touch money, and he brought some fucking amazing gags with him.
So good.
He was a fun time to watch. He was always abrasive. He was one of those characters who would often be the one who would first fight Taro.
He's the devil's advocate.
Exactly. It's like he was like a good
realizing they
knowledge.
Have Don Torvald labeled as Dangerous Jiro, and
that's what some people call him.
Dangerous Jiro.
Dangerous Jiro. Thanks, Wiki. But like, yeah, no, he's great. Haruka's pretty much was our main character.
I think Kaido was also really interesting. Well, like we didn't see much of him, but like, my God, did he?
We don't know how deep that Donbrothers goes. Mm-hmm. It's very well stocked. It has a hospital.
Again, him just like casually walking around as a doctor and a nurse in his fucking suit was hilarious.
That was fucking amazing. Like, it's just so much fun. You know what I mean?
So fun.
It was just, and like Jiro, I liked his story arc. You know what I mean? It was very simple, and like that's something I want to give the show. It did stuff. It never, if it didn't need to be grandiose, it didn't. Like the whole thing with the Juto, the Bestials, like it's like you were expecting this big knockout, drag-out fight in the end with maybe the Naoto and the Juto teaming up, and they're gonna do this. But then the Juto pretty much getting slapped, getting told to be put into your place, and you stay in the fucking forest, or you will come for me, motherfucker. And like, and it was just like, and it's like they got set in their place, and then problem solved.
I also had to say Sonoe was fantastic.
Sonoe,
especially when he interacted with Taro. I loved it when he was on his own and when he interacted
Sonoe
with
might
his
be
friends,
I'm about to say Sonoe might be number 3. Sonoe might be number 3.
I love how we don't even like bother to describe why we like Inoue Brother. We're just like he's awesome. Like,
well, he's
just such a good character. I almost
you went into him already.
He's
like
just,
Tsubasa.
He's such a dynamic character. Like he can show such a variety of like emotions, and they let him.
He can be fun.
And he's just he's so good-hearted too.
Yeah, he tries his best. Remember when he helped Rosso?
Yeah, it's like even though it's just like and again, he's also loyal. Like
a dog.
Because if you think about it, like even though he didn't know where she was, he didn't know how to get her back.
But he
knew Natsumi was out there somewhere. He wasn't engaged to her yet.
He was
technically he properly proposed like when he got her out of the forest.
Well, because I thought she had the ring when they got sucked in.
No, I think he hadn't. He was planning on it.
No, she had it.
She hadn't put it on yet. But, like, he re-proposed to her, essentially. But, like, even though it's, like, he didn't know where she was, he was so dedicated to her the whole time, and he was loyal. Even though Sandoni was, like, thirsty.
Get her a glass of water.
And, like, he still respected Natsumi enough to not let anything happen.
Remember when we didn't know the other two Naoto's names?
I'm so sorry. It took me a while. They're so similar, man. It's hard.
I know.
A week after this, I'm not going to remember because I'm not saying them constantly anymore. But, like, he respected Natsumi enough to not have anything with Sononi, but he still respected Sononi enough to, like, let her know where he stood, no matter how many times he needed to say it. And even though, like, she didn't quite give him the same respect back for a while, because she went a little nuts for a second.
Well, she almost had him kill Natsumi.
Yeah, but, like, she pulled her head out of her ass, thankfully. But, like...
She got killed for it, but yeah.
Again, and I feel like that's kind of a fitting punishment in a way. Like, she did some bad shit. She needed a punishment, and I feel like she served it. But Inoue Brother respected her enough, and he knew that despite the fact that, like, this was kind of deserved, he didn't want it to happen because he still did care. And
well, like,
he used his points to do that.
Which, by the way,
I wonder if, like...
I guess I'm about to say, and that's pretty much Sononi is just an add-on to Tsubasa. Let's not lie. Like...
But in, like, an interesting...
Well, yeah,
like
in an interesting way. Because they set up instantly.
That was a three group, too. Her, Sonoe, and Sonaza also work really well.
Oh, no, like, that's something I like that they were showing with the new Naoto trio was, like, none of them like each other, none of them were in sync, and none of them got along. But
they had that automatically.
But Sonoe, Sonaza, and Sononi, I like how I did the numbers out of order. I'm wondering who I pissed off there. Like, they all were in sync, they all cared about each other, they're like, oh, because it's like you saw how much respect they had for each other. Even like when Sonoe died, they were like, yeah, when Sonoe died, they were like, oh, we gotta kill Taro now. It's our turn. And it's like, seeing them grow and seeing them gain, like going into humanity, and it was like it was a cool thing to see. And it's like, again, it was an unexpected change for these characters, but like it was really good. And Sonaza's relationship with Haruka. With Haruka was adorable.
It was awesome. Like, it was
like
so
his
cute.
heart, like
it
that
really
manga.
Just felt like those best friends that are like sitting on the carpet coloring.
Well, yeah, and it's like, and like Sonaza, like having those moments of like he felt like he's like, I know you can do these things. He's like, because you did it. He's like,
you did it. You can do it again.
You can figure. Yeah, it's like you can figure it out.
And I like that. In the end. It wasn't always just like, he wasn't like a Gordon Ramsay, just like, no, it's awful.
You've eaten this!
Terrible! Like, the whole time,
it's
like,
raw.
once she got it again, then he was like, you did it.
Like, yeah, and he was ready to walk away.
Like, but he wouldn't accept any less, because he knew she could do better.
Well, exactly.
Which is really powerful.
Well, yeah,
you know,
and
I feel like there's not that much to say about Murasame, but like he's cool. Like
I like Shark Boy.
I also really liked the moment that he had with Jiro, or I guess specifically Torvald, huh?
Oh yeah, when they were talking to each other.
I really like that.
That was a
I
cool
think about
scene.
that scene a lot. Whenever I think of Murasame, that's the scene I think
Like
of.
after he killed the cat bestial, killing a person. Like to go into Oni's sister a little bit, because she was the main character.
Yeah,
in a way.
Yeah.
She was very much one character we saw, which by the way, I didn't know, but apparently in episode 10 when there was that replacement Oni sister, apparently that was an actress who almost played Oni's sister.
She auditioned, I think.
She auditioned, but since they picked obviously who they picked, but they still let her in. So I thought that was a cool thing.
That's nice. I like that, the writer like slips in little things like that, and like I really like her personality.
Well,
I feel like once it reached the point where she wasn't the main character anymore, I was kind of glad though, because it's like
there was only so much.
You got to know her personality.
She's fucking wild card.
She's a little nuts. And it's like, but like, oh god, the driving episode.
That one.
She gets her license.
Well, anytime she's just confused.
But like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, I mean that as no insult to her. It's just like you got your fill of her, and then they kind of knew, so they backed off a bit, so you didn't get sick of her or annoyed of her.
And she was
I appreciate.
Well, yeah, she was always great. And like again, like I like that we saw these characters change and grow. And again, another aspect I loved about this show was, again, they weren't trying to push, like, yes, there were things obviously there to sell toys, but some of those things just felt like afterthoughts. Like, we just got Don Oni Taijin because Taro said so one day. Like, that was the first time we got to see the Robotaros and, like, Don Oni Taijin. He was just like, alright, guys, let's do this shit.
Also, R.I.P. to whoever had to do all of those fucking sound bites of just screaming, like, Don Murotaro, or, oh my gosh, you literally just said it. The giant robot.
Don Oni Taijin.
Like, Don Oni Taijin. Like, they fucking, like, went for it. Like, give them some cough drops. They probably need it.
But
do you
like,
want to just move on to like either Jiro
well,
or
like I
want.
Well, wait, no, I want to finish my little thing, because it's like they still showed that there were replacements. You know what I mean? Like there was never. It's like they're not saying like these characters aren't special. Like there's like a billion people, but it's like they're just the first people to connect and actually form a team instead of just being strangers or using it for their own advantage and all of that.
Again, the episode where we actually saw past Saru Brother wasn't really.
That was a really interesting episode.
That was a good one.
And
us just like naming all of the episodes. That was a good one.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no. To get into, I guess let's get into Kajino first, because he's the one who had.
This is an interesting one.
Well, it's because it's so funny because we saw everyone do this because everyone was so excited. He was the first male Pink Ranger. Everyone was so excited to see him.
Look at how much he loves his wife.
Yeah, look he's gonna be like Lighto from Ultraman Geat. He's gonna be such a good guy. Everyone's gonna love him. And then he turned into a fucking psychopath, and I hated him.
First of all, I want to say I really like that
he was a well-written character, I'll tell you that.
I want to say that each of these characters is interesting because they all have different moralities. Like, it's like it's really interesting because like none of them feel like they're just straight good guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like it's like everyone kind of has their own dirt in a way. Everyone has their own.
He's also the one that turned into the monster a lot.
Yeah, to the point where they made fun of him.
Yeah, they kept mocking him from it. Only beaten by our king.
Yeah, and just it's a complex thing because I like the analogy I made where it's almost like a drug addict.
Yeah.
It's like they're so happy, and
he's addicted to that love.
Like he's addicted to love and this connection that he made with this person, and then. It's just like any time that got threatened, he got angry. Because, like, one of the things that, like, you hear and you see, like, with people that have experiences, like, with, like, loved ones or friends that have, been through something like that, or even themselves, is, like, your personality changes, like...
At a drop of a hat.
Like, at the drop of a hat, if, like, your drug of choice gets threatened, or if, like, even if you're, like, detoxing, or if, like, you just haven't had it in a while.
Well, yeah.
It's just, like, your personality changes, and I feel like that's kind of what we saw. And then, again, like, with
And they hinted at it very early on.
Yeah, and just and then after he realized everything, and then him just kind of being like, I need to
He went
work
through
on
the 5
myself,
stages of grief.
essentially. Yeah.
And, like, again, like, I think he had a very strong moment at the end. And, like, you could see him grow. And, again, he is a well-done character. Did he piss me off sometimes? Yes.
I think the problem with Kaji Brother, not in, like, a writing sense or even as a character sense, more as just, like...
A character, as a person.
Us as viewers. Like, I think the biggest thing of why I can see a lot of people not liking Kaji Brother is because we spent the majority of our time watching this show with him in a bad spot. Like, when he was, like, deep in this love addiction, essentially, or him slowly crawling out of it. He's only just now starting to get better.
To be fair...
And the show ended, you know?
To be fair, Natsumi was the problem. No, I guess Miho was the problem.
Well, apparently there wasn't that big of a deal. Or that... It wasn't
big
that
of a difference.
Big of a difference, thank you. But, you know what I mean? It's like, we were just starting to see the upturn. Like, we don't see him at his peak or anything. And now, that's the part that bothers me with Natsumi. Going and being like, oh, do you want to live the dream again? It's like, he was doing so good. This almost feels like you're watching your friend get tempted into a relapse. You know what I mean? I'm just like, is it possible that all of these characters could be happy and they could respect, you know, the relationships that they're in? Because obviously this is not an actual drug. These are relationships. These are people.
It's like,
They're
I'm willing to
but
accept he can learn.
I can see it, but it's like, I don't...
Fuck Natsumi, though.
I'm just like, I'm mad at Natsumi because it's just like, she is playing with people. Like, it's because it's like, she knows Tsubasa loves her. She loves Tsubasa.
But again, keeping secrets is what kind of tore them apart.
In a way, I guess, like, that little bit of a mystery between them that kind of drew them together is what tore them apart, but, like,
yeah.
He was so dedicated to her. I feel almost, and granted, she didn't really know, but as a viewer, I almost feel cheated out of her at least giving him some acknowledgement of all of the shit he has gone through for her, and I feel like I might be a little bit too defensive of Tsubasa, but, again, but, like, think of it just like, oh, you kind of had, like, a little bit of a thing with this other guy. So you're gonna leave this guy that you are engaged to just so that you can make...
Yeah, by the way, Tsubasa,
like...
did you get your ring back?
But, like, the thing that also bothers me is Natsumi and Miho have different personalities.
In a way, yeah.
It makes me wonder if it would even work. Like, would she even like Kajino? Like,
but she has all... But they did set up that she does have all of those memories.
Yeah, well... I don't know.
It's a hard thing, and again, we're gonna have to see.
I wish that there was, like, a season 2, so I could see, like, how it would play out.
Yeah.
It's
again, this is a show I could watch for all eternity.
Honestly, if, like, they wanted to basically just pull a Full House and it's just a sitcom of them week to week, I'd be okay with it.
But, like...
Oh, hiccup.
But yeah, no, I guess we're saving Jiro for last, for some reason. But Jiro was such an interesting character, because, again... He's set up, and like the show always says, he is Taro's successor. It's like, if anything is to happen to Taro, he's supposed to be his equal.
Yeah.
I'm about to say, we never technically know if he ever reached to be Taro's equal.
I think once Taro said, like, I'm leaving this to you, he never would have done that if he didn't fully believe in him.
Well, I know that. I do believe Taro believed in him, but we never saw Taro at his peak. You have to think, we just saw him take out 2 of the strongest characters that we are aware of by himself in one swipe.
No, I think the only person that we've ever seen that was more powerful is maybe the Dawn Killer. But that was just because they were made specifically.
Well, they were immune to their powers. And Sonoy at that one moment, but then we also saw in that last episode when they were fighting the fighting the King-Ohger monster, he took out all 5 of them by himself. So, like, it's like we don't know Taro's peak, so it's kind of hard to say. But Jiro is also a very interesting character because he's also one of those characters that kind of would disappear for long swaths.
Yeah.
And, like, I do like his story, though, where it's like, it's almost like him having to mature and grow up and accept reality of things.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, and again, he had the split personality, one that was just a lot more feral and violent and just literally wanting to be the top.
Feral Jiro. That makes me laugh a lot more than
like,
just dangerous Jiro.
Yeah. So like, I'm just gonna call him Torval. But like.
Yeah, I feel like that's more fitting. It sounds more like an actual name.
But like he didn't. And it's like, again, he had this weird thing with the personalities, and then we find out that he was gaslit his whole life, and he actually had no friends.
Nothing was real. He was just in existentialism for like a couple days straight.
Yeah, and it's like,
Just
and again,
like that
ending
character got so cheated out of everything. He got cheated out of a childhood, out of a life, out of friends.
Well, it's
out
like
of
he's
family.
always shown. He keeps getting shown up and told that by Taro that he's not good enough to be his replacement. Like Taro keeps taking his opportunities and all of this. Like he took his job as replacing the guy as the guardian of the Johto Forest. All of this, and so it's like you feel really bad for him, and especially because a lot of people also don't like him. Like even in the con artist episode, you remember, like the guy was like, "Oh, this guy's annoying. I'm just gonna keep ignoring him."
Yeah.
Like it's like fucking dick move though, bro.
But like he takes it all on the chin like a champ.
Yeah, he does it in stride, especially when he said he wanted to execute them.
I feel like he's aware of it. Like I'm not gonna say that he's so like naive or something that he doesn't notice that people have this reaction to him. But like, again, like him just being like, it's okay, I don't care, you know.
Well, it's like, and then like to see him at the end when he's just like, where it's like Torvald telling him, he's like, oh, I'm sad too, but I've been here the whole time, and him admitting to himself, and he's like, yeah, he's like, we are the same person. It's like we can stand up as one person and be together and just and live our life. We need to live our life from now on, and it's like him coming together and being one person is very interesting.
I guess you could say like his whole life he's only had himself.
And again, maybe that's why Torvald was a thing.
With, you know?
Yeah, and it's like maybe that's why there was two of them.
That's the only person that like was true, real, and didn't lie to him.
Was himself. Again, it's weird to think that Torvald was the first one, so that means Torvald made a nicer personality, if that's what that means, and or the Penguin made him a nicer personality, which that's kind of a dick move.
I imagine it wasn't really a part of the Penguin because I feel like the illusion would have immediately went away when he died, like everything else. Like I think the illusions when they at the very end, after he had died, when like when they like disappear and then right before they become one. Another good episode, by the way.
Well, yeah.
I feel like that was just kind of Jiro going through the motions in his head.
Yeah, which it's
because if you think about it, like if you were alone in a village you thought was filled with your past friends that never existed, I feel like I'd start to go a little nuts at some point.
Well, yeah, and it's one of those things where I do like his story. Like I thought he was great. Again, the Naoto when they were villains were great, and then seeing them actually in it work as a story of them turning good and joining the Donbrothers was awesome.
It's kind of nuts. Like there's this many characters and all of them have unique personalities.
Where it's like
they are all unique.
And it's like I like them all, and they all interweave with each other. They all play with each other well.
I mean, think about it. Like another show that had this many people and this many personalities in it, I think was Saber, and like one of the
maybe more.
Like, but at the same time, it's like. At one point, a lot of the personalities started to kind of feel
samey,
either
or lost,
grouped together, samey or lost, as you said. But like with this, they were, if anything, the characters got stronger and better as time.
Well, and see, that's also how I feel about shows.
You saw them grow in different ways. You saw them fail in different ways. You see like the best and worst parts of all of them.
Well, it's like. It's even
they all have different interactions between each other, because that's another thing that always kind of annoys me with Sentai and Power Rangers just as a whole is like they're either all together as a group or like
it's like they never needed all 5 of them there or all 10 of them there at once.
Yeah, it's just like you got to see those different personalities and how they bounced off of each other in different ways, and like you get like a cool combination of like all of them at some point, I feel.
And it's like and like that's what I can say is great. It's like
as I remember.
It's like that's even what I like about shows like Kyoryuger. Like I love Kyoryuger because all those characters, much like this show, wasn't a team at the start. They kind of formed together, and you saw them grow. And it's like I loved those group of characters. And this is.
But they didn't all have to be together all the time.
Well, exactly. They're like
no, I'm doing a thing.
Well, it's like, and like I feel like that was maybe one of the only faults for Kyoryuger, where it's like when the 5 of them were together, they always had to have all 5. I don't know why, but it could have been an old Sentai thing. But I still love Kyoryuger. But, like, this was fucking amazing. Do we want to talk about Kaido? Anything you have to say about Kaido? He's a mystery. He was amazing. He has a doctorate.
I feel like I've kind of said everything I wanted to about it, and I feel like maybe I'll have more to say once the movie comes out. Because again, he is kind of just a bit of an enigma.
Yeah.
So.
Remember when that future Murasame got killed?
Oh yeah.
And
I hope that don't happen anymore. Well, I guess they are a different world.
I'm about to say, I don't think we have.
I still wonder why Haruka was mad at Taro though.
Again, different timeline.
And
maybe
know.
she didn't say. Maybe he didn't say goodbye in that world.
You know what? Yeah, I can see that.
But like, we have like future Don Murasame, but whatever. Do you like we have nothing to say about the 2 executioner
No.
Naoto? It's like one was Kiksa, the other they were just there to be villainous and they did their job.
I mean, the white-haired one looked like they basically just had like a yellow shoelace on the front of them.
That's fair.
That's what I have to say.
I'm about to say, what about Sonogo and Sonoroku?
What, the new ones?
Yeah. So yeah, also apparently she was in Car Ranger. So yeah, there you go. I looked that up. And she might have been in a different movie, but whatever. But like, yeah, no, it's like
I don't have much of like an opinion on like 3 of them. I mean, they were entertaining for what they were.
Like Sonoshi was just kind of there to be a new evil Naoto, who's just kind of a fucking weirdo.
From what we saw, we still again interesting personalities, unique personalities.
Well, like that, and I like that they showed you the differences. Like these,
I think. Oh my gosh, Sonona is like the normal one, not the executioner, right? Is it Sonogo?
Sonogo is the purple regular one before the executioner.
I think the one exception is maybe Sonogo because she just kind of felt like a bit of a more out there exaggerated version of Sononi.
Yeah. The other two didn't. But yeah, it's like she was definitely covering the same ground as Sononi.
And Sonoroku.
Yeah, that was the
again, like he just kind of felt like Gamel.
I did, but
me.
I do love his moments. Like, remember when he had a laugh track?
Mm-hmm. Like,
and again, Sonoshi was just kind of a weird guy with fucking ear shit.
Crazy bitch.
Oh, he was in Akiba Ranger? Who was he in Akiba Ranger? Like,
but
oh god, that's a long name.
Oh, oh my god, he was the sexy man in the drunk episode. I think either that or like the version that was based off of.
Yeah.
I recognize that long ass name anywhere.
Yeah.
Was he the sexy one or was he the normal one? I need to know.
He was both.
Okay, good. That was my favorite episode of Akiba
Ranger.
Ranger.
We'll have to talk about Akiba Ranger at some point. I love Akiba Ranger.
Oh.
But yeah, no, so like they were kind of okay. Again, Sonoshi just kind of being there to like observe and to be there to like usher in the Naoto turning into good guys was good. I would say they were actually pretty strong. They were pretty decent villains. But again, this show was just so much thriving on the other 9 characters.
I also feel like the world is really big in this episode because we hear about like, you know, these different places that like Taro and the Naoto are like from. And,
like Ideon and all of them, yeah.
I feel like there's so much of like this world that we're not seeing, and I wish we could see more.
I want to know what, like, yeah, it's like, I imagine where, like, he went for Sonoi's funeral was Ideon, but, like, I don't know, man, I don't know. But overall, God,
what else is, I'm trying to think of, like...
Oh, so you, I was about to say, Taro's so good.
Yeah, I think my 3 favorites are Momotaro. It's Taro, Tsubasa.
I want to say Sara Brothers so much. But it's like, but then I'm like, but this character, but that character.
It's hard because they're all.
I just love this cast.
I'm just gonna say those are my 3, and they're all very close. Don Momotaro is definitely my first favorite, just because
he is number 1.
I think I have a crush on him. Like I like him that much, but like, I love you. I love you.
Yeah, I'm about to say that's good to tell me. You know, it's fine.
And I like Kaji Brother, if only just because like. It's just so interesting. He put me on a fucking emotional roller coaster throughout this entire show.
Exactly.
Like, I was rooting so hard for him, and then I was like, bitch, you're in the trenches with Michi from like Gaim, and then I'm just like, okay, fine. you can play again. And then I'm just like, no, don't you change him again. Like,
he doesn't need you. Okay, wait. Here's a better question. Because now let's stop talking about characters. What was your favorite suit?
I really liked Oni's sister's suit.
Murasame is up there for me. I love
Murasame's
Murasame's suit. I'm
The
also
Naotos
purple.
all look really good.
Yeah.
I actually like.
I love Donmo.
I really like Senoshi's.
Oh, that one was good looking.
Yeah.
Like, I love Taro's suit, obviously. I love both of Jiro's suits. Like, but I'm about to say my favorite...
I mean, the CGI ones, like, are just kind of...
I love that they started using the puppet more.
I like the puppets.
I
have to say,
love Sara Brothers' red butt.
Oh my god, yes. Whoever did that, God bless you. But, I really liked... When it was a puppet, I really did like, Inoue Brothers. And Hajino's when it was a physical suit was also very good.
It was always funny to see because it's like they
Taro's.
made sure that you couldn't see his legs. I love Taro's suit.
I do too. I mean, Sara Brothers is really cool again because of this like that bright red ass, but because he has like just such exaggerated big fuzzy arms.
But yeah,
I love it when they play with textures, and it's not. I think I like Torvald's suit a little bit more than I like Dondragoku's, but like. I like them both.
Mm-hmm.
I still think Oni's Sisters is probably my favorite just because it just looks so, like, the ogre head looks so cool, and I love her club, and I love that it just says, Oni's gonna club you, or Oni's Sisters gonna club you. That's really funny. I mean, all of, like, again, like, all the other ones are the Naotos are very elegant, and they have, like, this very, like...
armor.
Like, this armored, like, what's it called? Like, the Celtic knot? Like... that you see in like a lot of like Vikings like shields and stuff. It's very like reminiscent of that, and I love it.
Yeah.
Don Murasame just looks fucking cool.
Well, it's a repaint of Don Momotaro with shark aspects. I love that.
And the sword is just chef's kiss.
Like so, my favorite is either Don Momotaro or Don Murasame. Those are my two favorite suits.
Wow, all right.
Like I want to give it to one or the
Murasame and Oni's sister are probably my two favorites.
Yeah. But, yeah, no, that's pretty much it. What's your favorite suits? Put it down in the comments. Tell us your favorites. By the way, they teamed up with so many people. Remember when they teamed up with Momotaros?
Did we watch that?
Yes, we did. Remember? Because that was the one when he went to go eat pudding, and every time he would tell you it's snack time.
Yes, that was wonderful.
That was fucking hilarious. I can't believe you would forget that.
Me too.
It's classic.
I guess,
I would say I really don't I'm not gonna say it's a weak part. Like honestly, a lot of the monsters were really fun. It was very interesting, but
the designs were fun.
But I would not. There is not one of those monster suits where I would say, oh, I like it one more than the other. Honestly, it's like they're all good, and they all like some capture the Sentai better than others.
We gotta talk like Ninja Guy.
Oh, fat ninja guy. Mm-hmm. Yes. He was our king. So, you know, you gotta love him. He was a ninja, cowboy, wizard, king, treasure hunter. He was I like that he was just always Taro's rival. He would just always just show up to fight Taro.
Football playing king in space.
Why do you do these things? Why do you do these things?
With a mustache.
We're gonna move on.
Okay.
But yeah, no. Also,
I'm sad, guys.
This is the end.
I don't think I fully accepted that it's over because I feel like I'm still in denial.
But yeah, no. It's been a crazy.
I'm looking forward.
It's been a crazy amount of time.
I'm looking forward to that.
This movie. This show.
It means a lot.
If you don't enjoy it, fine.
That's fine.
But also, why are you listening to this? Because we've been talking about how much we love it for 48 weeks. You know, but like
it's gonna be weird not having it.
Oh yeah, it's like we've had this for so long. It's been here for all 48 weeks of this show. Mm-hmm. It's like now it's gonna be weird to have a show without it. We will be getting into King-Ohger, which the preview looks kind of neat.
I'm trying not to get too excited.
Yeah, I'm about to say I did buy the robot, mostly because it comes with a neat pre-order bonus, And it wasn't that expensive.
It's a lot smaller than.
But yeah, he's no Don Onitaijin.
He could
Don
probably-
Onitaijin still owns our house.
He could probably like sit on Don Onitaijin's lap like Santa Claus. Like
Maybe I'll have to
for
get it.
scaling.
We'll have to. If the video's up before this, I will link it right here. By that I mean I won't. But you know,
You're like, I won't remember.
yeah, I bet you I won't. Even if I edit it and I have that video up and I hear this, I'm probably not gonna do it. But like, yeah, no, and I do like the look of King-Ohger. Again, the look. I'm gonna have a really low bar. Like that's all I'm gonna say. It's like
I already said everything that I have on my mind when it comes to that show.
please be fun. That's
Again,
all I'm asking.
I'm not expecting you to be another Donbrothers or a Zenkaiger. At least be a Kira Major. If you can be a Lupin versus Pot Ranger for me, I'll also be happy. Like,
that could be a controversial opinion.
Okay, look, I know that not everybody agrees with me, but like I really enjoyed Lupin versus Pot Ranger.
It was okay.
I have not finished Kira Major yet, so that's why it's like I have it a little bit lower than that on my list of like.
But I'll never forget when that helicopter queefed.
Oh my fucking god! How could anyone forget that? That was. We had to
A
pause.
grown-ass
We had
woman.
to pause and rewind because we were laughing so hard. Because we also had to be like, did our eyes deceive us? Is that what we saw? Yep, that's what we saw. Like,
That's what I saw.
that was the one where they had like the brains of 5-year-olds.
Not all of them, just her, because for whatever reason she got like hit in the head or something. I can't remember why she.
I think that was like
The monster, maybe.
the monster of the week.
But yeah, like only she was the one who felt like a 5-year-old.
Yeah, they turned them into like different personalities or something. I don't quite remember.
But either way, I guess that's it. Like, I don't know. Tell us your favorite Donbrothers moment down in the comments. Tell us what your hopes are for King-Ohger.
We're as depressed as I am.
Yeah, sit down, depressed for the day.
Are you looking forward to that movie? Because oh my god,
I'm excited. I've not been
I'm
excited
so
for a
excited.
crossover movie in a while. Like, everyone was like, oh, yeah, maybe if we finish Kira Major. But, like, honestly, I liked Kira Major's cast. I think it's a really solid cast. But when it came to Zenkaiger, where it's like the only reason is I like to see Zenkaiger interact with things. But now I want to see this. It's going to be 10,000% chaotic.
When it comes to, like, Zenkaiger versus Donbrothers, like, I have the opinion of... I think that Donbrothers is a better show, but Zenkaiger, on a personal level, means a little bit more to me. Like, I just enjoyed Zenkaiger that much. It got to me in my heart on a personal level.
We're going to have to rewatch both of them at separate times, because we can't just be like, okay, we're going to watch this and then watch Donbrothers afterwards. No, we need to let them both stew.
But
this is definitely high marks.
I mean, like, I feel like it would be difficult to have someone write a better show than Donbrothers. I feel like that's, like, an impossible task, almost. Like, how much better could you have possibly written this? Besides maybe, like, oh, maybe I could have cut this one a little shorter so I could have, like, developed it a little bit more later on. But, like, even then, like...
Well, yeah, but it's, like, even, like, there are certain aspects of, like, oh, Jiro disappeared for a long swath of time, and we found out in, like, the writing room that, like, Sonoy was just meant to stay dead. But the writer made it in a way. And there was even, like, a production thing of being like, hey, everyone had fun and everyone enjoyed it. Everyone enjoyed this ride. And it's like, even if it...
they enjoyed that character so much that they kept him in the show.
No, I'm talking about, like, this was the last thing they either tweeted or something, but it was like, I don't know if it was from the writer or just the production team, and it was a production note. They're like, we are glad and we loved everything we did. Even if it was only good to us, we all had a fun time and we all loved what we did. And it's like, it just shows you, because you felt that in the show. The actors, the people directing it, loved what they were doing, and just...
I mean, everything down to, like, the suits.
It's lightning in a bottle.
Like, and, like...
Say what you want about the
music,
CGI.
Like, the music, the CG... Like, the music, the standby music, like...
I love it. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's lightning in a bottle. Yeah, if you can't get past the CGI, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, it's just like, it's...
Get over it.
Seen...
It's like, it's not even like they're in every episode, though, too.
It's just like, I mean, give yourself a little bit of suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, it's like, come on. I'm like, I like how...
Really, that's... Out of all of this show, like, you're gonna deem that more important than the story it's trying to tell, or the characters that those CGI people are, like, trying to represent. And I also feel like it's a disservice to, like... all the hard work that went into that. Like, CGI
is not
no
easy.
joke. Like, that is hard work. And
Could you imagine if we saw Inoue brother T-pose?
that would have been
Just
really
at one point, just T-pose.
whoa.
Just floating there in the middle of the screen.
It just goes really fast towards somebody. They're just like,
But yeah, no, it's, again, ugh.
it's gonna feel different not having.
It's gonna be weird. Next week's gonna be weird with Donbrothers being gone.
I kind of hope Gears, because like obviously
Gears.
Zenkaiger kind of also had Gears. You know how like there's still people that are putting out Ranger keys to this day because people. Like
Oh no, they're gonna
them?
still be selling these fucking Gears. I'll tell you that much.
That's what I kind of hope so. I kind of want like
The Memorial Edition has the Memorial Blaster. Yes, they already announced it. Has a pre-order bonus if you buy it from X amount of time to Y amount of time. I can't remember the exact amount of time frame, but if you order it in that time frame, you get a special King-Ohger gear. It won't. Maybe it'll do something. Oh god, I might have to buy that now. Oh god, am I gonna end our Donbrothers thing in a very similar dilemma I ended our first Donbrothers episode in? Because you remember what we...
Out of all of like the memorials to come out so early after the show, like I feel like
I love this show too much.
Donbrothers, it makes sense.
I love this show too.
We love this show so much that it's like I wouldn't mind having like a memorial set.
Well, then it's like we have a lot of gears, and having 2 Dawn Blasters in the house would not be the worst idea.
And it's a little bigger too.
Well, yeah, no, it's like 125% bigger.
It's probably heavier too.
No, there's no diecast.
Well, even then.
But yeah, no.
Bigger.
But either way, yeah, it's gonna be weird.
I'm fucking.
It's gonna be weird, but at least we
sad
still have
now.
Geats.
Yes, we do still have Geats, and Geats has been knocking it out of the park constantly.
I love Geats.
Even their freaking clip show was awesome.
I loved their clip
We
show.
talked
Weirdly enough.
that long about a fucking clip show. Remember when
This
clip
is
shows
gonna be the
happened in Decker? We were just like,
all right, let's move on.
I mean, these things happened. They were cool, but that's about it.
Well, it's like
Let's
this
move
was
on.
funny. Let's move on.
We talked a long.
This
time
is a
about
long.
that,
This
and
is
that
might be the
shows.
longest weekly episode to date. So good luck me. When I.
Good luck.
But yeah, no. It's again. Share your favorites in the comments. I like how we started ending it and just started rambling again.
Yeah, it's a good show, man. The one criticism I have, like when they had like that big portrait at the very end, you know, with like all of the mechs and stuff. I kind of wish Duran would have been in there.
Okay.
Because like that was like the first thing that we saw.
Yeah, it was with Don's and Kaio, but
Yeah.
that was mostly the Any Rhydon and.
Yeah.
Either
I
way,
wish that maybe he would have been like at least represented like in the background or something.
maybe.
Or like a reference to it if they couldn't actually put him in there.
Yeah, and overall, it's gonna be weird.
Yeah.
But I hope you guys enjoyed this.
I hope you guys.
Thank you so much for listening.
This is the end of a big journey, you know.
And with the festival over, we're going right into the Renaissance. So
Sing.
we'll be back. We'll be back with King-Ohger. Get your loots out and
Sing. Dance. It's a competition. It's a festival.
No, it's over.
The festival.
Go
is over.
home.
Why are you still here? Go home.
All right,
guys.
all right.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
for listening.
thank you guys so much for listening to us ramble.
For this
And-
many weeks.
And until next week,
Bye-bye.
bye.